What's up, everybody? My name's Seth, and we are back in about Trove, and today we're going to be talking about some very exciting stuff that the developers ended up talking about, or leaking, if you will, in the latest developer live stream. They ended up actually mentioning, or rather giving us hints at some new really crazy stuff. So it's going to be really cool. Some of the questions that got answered were just great. I love the fact that we can kind of come together as a community and end up asking and answering or getting answers to all of these questions, because generally it seems like, you know, we end up getting these really good questions whenever I'm usually doing a live stream, and then we'll end up kind of talking about them. And then I think that ends up, you know, a lot of you guys end up going into the developer live stream and end up asking these things, which I'm not saying that everybody that asks these questions is necessarily a fan of me. I'm just saying that a lot of these we ended up actually talking about within the past couple of weeks. So it's really exciting to see people continuously answer these questions or ask these questions to the developer. So anyways, I don't mean to digress. Before we get started, though, I would appreciate if you would hit that like button. Makes the video show up in searches and stuff like that. So, can I safely skip Geode without dropping out of top mastery? And can I still do U10? This is an excellent question. The developers say that this is a great chance, or there is a great chance that U10 will exist initially on the surface of Geode. It shouldn't be too dependent on deep cave gameplay, but players who have access to cave resources may supplement their overworld play with beneficial items. So that seems like a pretty you know, it seems like they're kind of trying to hold back on the answer of saying, yes, you're going to need access to, you're going to have to complete Trove Geode in order to end up having a much easier time getting your character stronger in U10. Or maybe, this is another suspicion that I've had for quite some time, is that them hinting at the fact that we'll be able to use the modules in U10? You know, like maybe we'll get to actually use rocket boots only exclusively in U10, wherein having access to the highest grade of rocket boot would end up being, you know, very good not only for caving, but then you would also be able to use it out in U10, which it doesn't really seem like they would go that route, honestly speaking, because we don't really need rockets, because we've already got like lots of jump anyways, especially if we end up getting to U10. I'm sure we would have a lot of jump by then, not to mention people with Gonda and stuff like that. Like it wouldn't make sense to me for them to end up using the modules, but we do know in some way, shape, or form they're going to have some type of a module related system related to U10. I'm expecting, honestly, it's going to be something similar to the modules, but with the new gem types. So then we end up getting another question right here. Will you please consider removing Trove Mastery from Geode stuff? Please allow us to skip Geode if we don't like it, because honestly speaking, guys, the vast majority of players don't actually like the Geode update, despite the fact that I'm really into it. I think that it's great. Lots of people just think that it's really boring, despite the fact that you watch me play it during streams, which is weird. But anyways, they say that right now the interconnected mastery systems are likely to not change from their current forms. We will keep an eye out on feedback. So basically, they were just saying no. Here's the next question, which I think is great. Will there be a new Primordial Dragon when the new gems come out? So this is something that's been on everyone's minds, because based on the way that they've been hinting at it, it seems like we're going to end up getting some extra gem slots, yes, for different colored gems that might not necessarily end up going to the next tier. Maybe they'll end up going to Astral tier. We'll see if gems end up doing that. But we're going to get new gem slots in either way, shape, or form. So we don't know whether or not they're going to end up being gems that we can level up, augment, and randomize the stats on them, because based on the you know, what the devs have ended up saying in the past, it sounds to me like the gems themselves are going to act more like a module item, or something where you end up procedurally upgrading it while you progress, you know, through the environment and through the game and stuff like that, rather than being something that's just going to end up being another set of gems that's going to be, you know, very boring and lackluster. So anyways, with that, the developers say that if there was ever a time to release the second wave of Primordial Dragons, it'll probably be when a new type of gem is out. So that can be taken one of many ways. Second wave of Primordial Dragons tells me that they're going to be adding more than one different colored gem to the game. And then on top of that, they say when a new gem type is out. So Obviously, that's got to do with the new type of gems are going to end up being the ones that are going to be coming with U10. But they say second wave. Key word here of primordial dragons, meaning that there's going to be multiple new colors that are going to be added. I don't know whether or not that means we're going to end up getting new elemental worlds. Are these primordial dragons going to end up taking diamond dragon eggs? Because that would honestly be absolutely stupid, because they've made us waste all of our dragon eggs to get dragonite so that we can end up forging up our gems and stuff like that. Not to mention, you guys already know how hard it is to get a diamond dragonite, especially for somebody like myself, where I've unboxed maybe like 900 to 1,000 empowered gem boxes just to get my 3 diamond dragon eggs in the first place, let alone now we need to save up to get more. Like, it's just, I don't know, dude. Hopefully they're actually really cool and actually have some type of functionality, because honestly speaking, I feel that the current primordial dragons could end up getting a big rework, because as of right now, scintilla is useless. You get more flight speed, so what? The water dragon is actually good because you end up having increased block destruction. You know, it's a very powerful explosion that happens, but it ends up putting water down. But I don't know, either way, it still has a function, right? And then the machine gun dragon is just a machine gun dragon. It's pretty much the best that you can end up doing until you end up just being able to afford bombs, right? But either way, it's cool that they hinted they're going to end up adding more primordial dragons sometime in the future. So next question is, since there will be a removal of the Radiant Dayspring bench, how will we get Bound Brilliance? Again, something that we ended up talking about in recent videos, so it's cool that you guys ended up asking this. The devs say we're looking into creating several new distribution methods, which is pretty cool, because I ended up mentioning in a live stream how when they end up getting rid of that table, it's going to kind of suck, because suddenly we're not going to have access to these tokens or the boon boxes, more importantly, at the Dayspring. And that was pretty much the best way of actually getting the Bound Brilliance. You know, even as a free-to-play player, it was pretty much the best way of actually doing it. So at least they say that they're working on an alternative. So we got a lengthy question right here saying, could you possibly introduce another steady source of diamond dragonite, speaking of which, and or buff the current supply from the total power rank contest? As the introduction of light chaos vaults and the costs involved with that has presented players with a problematic choice of whether to make superior focus or light chaos vaults, with dragonite being by far the limited resource on both. So I'm going to have a video come out within the next following days that's going to be talking about the fact that light chaos vaults are going to end up becoming craftable in the Trove Geode update. And I really don't like the crafting recipe, because a lot of the items, I mean, not the content, a lot of the items that you actually need in order to craft those light vaults is like radiant and stellar souls and stuff like that. But also it costs despoiled divinity, it costs diamond dragonite, and to me that's a big problem, because I thought that, you know, having the light chaos vaults was going to end up being a perfect method for having a soul sink to the stellar and radiant souls. You know, we would be able to just drain those out of the game economy so that they would end up becoming a lot more valuable. Stellar items would become a lot more valuable again, and free-to-play players would actually have a method of grinding for flux. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're going to end up changing any of that stuff, and now somebody else ends up asking about the Dragonite, which, more importantly, because you end up using it on augmenting items, why would you want to craft light vaults if you still need augments? But anyways, the developers say that we recently reduced the amount of Dragonite required from 25 to 10 for the light vaults. We'd like to see how that impacts the current global economy before adding a new method. Personally, I just don't think it should cost Dragonite. I know that it's supposed to be like a late game item for, you know, most starting players aren't supposed to be able to have access to, but the fact of the matter is that Dragonite is a resource that is all too uncommon, because we only really get it from events that end up happening in the game and stuff like that, right? So anyways, how will we get silver companion eggs? So this is really cool, guys. We've talked about this loads in the Trove Geode update, and I'm really glad to see the developers ended up responding to that. This is one of my big time gripes with the Trove Geode update, is that silver and gold eggs are completely unattainable outside of the shop and also the mastery rank. So they say currently a silver companion egg is available from the Trove Geode mastery track. Who cares? Silver and gold eggs will rarely appear in the store deals, even though nobody wants to spend money on them. Silver and gold eggs don't contain any companions that can't be obtained from bronze eggs. Yeah, if the developers tested it even for 2 seconds, they would see the absolutely disgusting ratio of getting some of the rarer companions out of the bronze eggs is just horrendous, dude. You have to use so many of them, and you gotta wait 10 hours a pop for each of the eggs unless you end up using Accelerate, which requires you to go out of your way to grind all of the resources to craft the Accelerate rather than actually grinding what the game actually matters in the form of your power rank and your gems and stuff like that. So anyways, they say that silver and gold eggs don't contain any companions that you can't get out of a bronze egg, but they're considering adding them as a rare chance to spawn in tiers 3 to 5 layers and golds in tier 5 only. That would be awesome. That's what I expected the moment I played the Trove Geode update, because I thought, cool, then a free-to-play method of actually getting these eggs. But the fact that they ended up adding 2 whole tiers of eggs that you couldn't get from grinding and you had to spend money on them was just stupid. Like, I'm just gonna say it outright. So yes, don't consider it, devs. Add it. Add gold and silver eggs to the higher tiers of the Trove Geode, because then people will actually grind it. It'll actually serve a purpose and actually be cool. They also gotta get over themselves in the fact that there is barely any reason to spend money. There's no incentive to buy anything in the Trove Geode update, dude. There really isn't. Like, even myself, I'm gonna buy the packs and that's pretty much it. So anyways, they say, any news on the arena PvP dragon? I don't know why people are asking about this, but the developers respond that he comes out with the Geode update via Bomber Royale, so that's going to be how you have to get that dragon. Then any info on patron bonus on Geode. So patron status won't affect any existing Geode gameplay. It may at some point in the future. I think it would be good if patron users got more resources, because otherwise grinding it is a little bit... You know, it still needs a little bit of balancing for the ore in my mind. But anyways, will there be new badges for the Geode content? There aren't any new badges for Geode, but there are trophies and achievements for console players. Also, apparently, there's going to be achievements for Steam as well. Any plans on adding costumes to the Chaos Chest loot or Luxian? Totally possible is what they say. So Luxian, we know for a fact, is going to end up having costumes in the future. Chaos Chest, we haven't seen have costumes for years, like literally, so it's not going to happen. Will Zendri, which is the jet dragon as far as I recall, remain available from Dragon Effigies? Yes. Zendri and also Caries and Noraries will also be available for Dragon Effigies. Who knows what the names are of each of these dragons. So essentially, they ended up changing it since my last video that was showing all of the Trove Geode dragons, guys. I'll talk about this when Trove Geode ends up going live. But you are going to be able to use Dragon Effigies for all of the dragons that come out with Trove Geode, except for the one from Bomber Royale, because they desperately want us to actually play that game mode, right? But this disappointingly includes the Light Chaos Vault dragon, which, I mean, I'm all for just getting that dragon for, you know, the money that I ended up spending on the Dragon Effigy pack, but that's just like, that's kind of disappointing, isn't it? You know, like that dragon should be something where you feel like you earned it rather than just, oh, a Dragon Effigy just suddenly works for it, right? So anyways, any more hints on the new gem colors? Will there be a new way of upgrading them that's relevant to the Geode caves, or will it be the same system we have now? So the developers say that there's no hints yet. They can only confirm that the team is working on it. Our hint is that the new gems come from U10's biome via standard Trovian gameplay. So obviously, you're going to end up going into U10, and you're going to end up getting the gem boxes from completing dungeons, which tells me that it's probably going to end up being a mix between leveling and augmenting the gems, obviously, because that's where the cash shop is with this game. And then also the modules clearly are going to come into play as well because of the previous question that we ended up answering. What will happen to our old arena coins? The merchants will still be available for those arena coins, and you can still play those modes via Club Worlds. You can also get some of the old PvP items via playing the new mode. So you can end up buying like the PvP Warplane, for example, for Bomber Royale coins, which is very, very disheartening for somebody like myself that actually wasted my time grinding that PvP plane. I'll make a proper video talking about Bomber Royale and all the rewards and stuff like that, and the ones that you don't want to get, because you do not want to waste your time getting that PvP plane. It's just a mount. It doesn't even give mastery. Any thoughts on increasing the amount of Bomber Royale coins that you get from the weekly tome? It should take 60. It would take 60 weeks just to get the egg. So here's the developer's response, which we can already guess. The tome is designed to supplement dragon earning coins. The egg can be traded, so you can be purchased via the marketplace as well. This is the Bomber Royale dragon egg, right? So yeah, disappointingly enough, the tome is just, it's most of all just meant to incentivize players to get into Bomber Royale and try it, even though unfortunately it seems like we're going to have to grind Bomber Royale, guys. Like, we just are, which it's fine because it's actually a pretty fun game mode. Why does mining or bombing Cinnabar not drop miners' troves? Developers will look into that. Will placing club fixtures over decorations ever return the decorations to your inventory? So they say that they're looking at quality of life stuff, so they'll review that and see if they can do it. I don't know if they could because the fixtures kind of work on a different code, right? Any way to hide the stuff we already have crafted at crafting tables. It's kind of annoying to check what I own and I don't when I want to craft something new. Sounds like a great quality of life improvement, they say, which is actually a good idea because, yeah, I run into that problem a lot as well, because just because you don't have the resources for something means that you might think, oh, I've already got everything crafted, rather than having to click and go through every single one of them to tell which one you actually need, right? Is it possible to reduce the leaderboard requirements from 2,000 to 1,000? Is he talking about mastery? Seems to be too common to have a colored name after the update. So they don't have any plans on doing that currently, which, I mean, that, you know, top 2,000 is fine, except for the fact that the player base is so small with Trove, honestly speaking, that, yeah, I know that it's very common to see those colored names around, but at the same time, not really. It's perfectly fine that it's 2,000, dude. Like, really. Are you considering removing the Trove Mastery from Geode so we aren't forced to play it? Also not currently planned. Sorry. Of course it's not currently planned. They want you to play the Trove Geode update, man. And despite the fact that they say you don't technically have to, we all know you're going to have to. It's going to be directly involved with U10. So the last question that we got here, guys, is when will we get pearlescent, opalescent blocks to build with? I have no idea what those blocks are, but they say they're always looking to add new block types. With Geode, we've added some new VFX and anti-gravity blocks, and they'll also take that into consideration. So the anti-gravity blocks are cool because we can set up elevator systems and stuff like that. Pretty much the exact same as we've previously set up with wind gust blocks, but now we can actually just stand in it and it'll carry you up. And then the VFX blocks is another type of block that I'm going to have a video that's going to be showing off to you guys. It's really, really beautiful, those VFX blocks. It's going to be really cool, but at the same time, you got to watch out because it's going to end up draining frame rate like crazy on console. So anyways, big shout out to Shirokiri because they always end up summarizing all of the developer questions and stuff like that. Really ends up helping me out because then I can just very easily grab all that information and share it with all of you guys and gals out there on the internet. So either way, thanks for watching. Very much appreciate it. Hopefully you ended up enjoying this video. You know, the starting questions were the best. We know a little bit more about the new gem system. We know that there's new primordial dragons on the way for sure, even though they kind of say that there isn't. We know that there's a bunch coming, so that's really, really cool. I'm excited to see what they're going to end up being like. Hopefully they're not just all one color, and hopefully they end up having some really interesting abilities. In either case, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. And if you want to support me, you can always sponsor my YouTube channel or check links in the description. There's a merch store. Here's one of my newer shirts. We got an iron one as well. And then there's Gawkbox, which is a way you can donate to me for free. Sign on and stay up, everybody.